We will now talk about being on the run while under the Dublin procedure. We will explain how this can happen and what to do when it happens. During the Dublin procedure, France has 6 months to transfer you starting from the date on which the responsible country agrees to be responsible for your application for asylum. We have seen that in the previous video. After the 6-month period, you can ask for asylum in France, except if you've been placed on the run. If you miss an appointment with the authorities without proper justification, you could be placed on the run. If you are placed on the run, France has an additional 12 months to transfer you, which means that you can be deported during 18 months instead of 6. Generally speaking, the OFII, the French Office of Immigration and Integration, will cancel your asylum seeker's allowance, ADA, and accommodation assistance. This decision can be appealed in court. If you are placed on the run, your asylum application certificate will not be renewed. It can even be cancelled by the préfecture, which is why it is most important to always keep a copy. As we have seen in the previous video, let the préfecture know if you are unable to make it to an appointment by sending all supporting documents to justify this absence by registered letter with acknowledgement of receipt. To know if you've been placed on the run, there are 2 ways. The first clue is precisely if you stop receiving your asylum seeker's allowance, ADA. The second way to know if you've been placed on the run is to go to the préfecture to formally enter your application for asylum at the end of the transfer period. That is to say 6 months after the date when the country to which they wanted to transfer you gave its approval. Generally speaking, at this stage of the process, there are no risks of interrogation when going to the préfecture. However, there are exemptions. You should ask for the guidelines applied locally. You can, before showing up at the préfecture, send a registered letter with acknowledgement of receipt to the préfecture after the end of the 6-month period to ask them to record your application for asylum. When you show up at the préfecture, we recommend that you do so accompanied by a witness, a friend, a social worker, etc. If the administrative agents refuse to record your application for asylum, it is probably because you have already been placed on the run. The person who is with you can then write a statement saying that the préfecture refused to record your application. This proves that the préfecture refused to record your application for asylum after the 6-month period. If possible, keep your ticket showing that you were waiting in line at the préfecture. If you are placed on the run, you can appeal this decision in the court, especially if you have proof that you did not miss any appointments with the authorities. You also benefit from legal aid, that is to say, benefit from the help of a lawyer paid for by the French state. For this, you need to fill a form of demande juridictionnelle, request for legal aid. If you miss several appointments with the authorities, your chances of winning in court are very slim, and it is not certain that a lawyer will agree to take your case. It is important to give all the information you have regarding your situation to the lawyer so that he can defend you as well as he possibly can. If you win in court, you can record your application for asylum in France and have access to your file at the OFPRA. The judge may also ask the OFII to put back in place your asylum seeker's allowance, ADA, and to put you back on the waiting list for accommodation. When you are placed on the run, it can happen that the organization providing your housing ends that accommodation and to the legal address, domiciliation, which you use to receive your post. It is important to always write registered letters with acknowledgement of receipt to the housing center and appointed administration to explain your situation, your state of vulnerability, the difficult consequences of this decision, and to ask them to keep this accommodation in place for you. They cannot put you on the street from one day to the next. If you find yourself being placed on the run and if your appeal to the court did not work, or you did not enter one, you will have to wait for the 18 months to be over in order to register your application for asylum in France, starting from the date of the beginning of the transfer period. After this 18-month period, you can go to the préfecture to register your application for asylum. It can happen that the préfecture places you once again in the Dublin procedure. It can also happen that your application is granted and that you get access to your file at the OFPRA. If it is not the case, get in touch with an association or a lawyer to appeal the refusal to register your asylum application. In the next video, we will see what happens if you have been transferred and you come back to France. Check here. See you soon.